Hello everyone, welcome to today's video, and today I'll be going through what to do in London.
Serious.
So as you might be aware, London is massive. There are numerous places you can go and visit. Now, if I was to recommend a time span of how long to visit, I would probably say about 5 days or 7 days. Now, in this time, you're not going to be able to see absolutely everything because there are so many things you can do. So, in today's video, I'll be telling you what I would suggest you go and do whilst you're here. So, first of all, I would recommend you see all the landmarks such as Tower Bridge, Trafalgar Square, Leicester Square. Now, I must say it isn't particularly cheap in terms of eating or shopping in general. I'm comparing this to other cities I've been to, such as Budapest, for example. So you're not going to get cheap prices in London. In terms of restaurants and pubs or bars, if you go to central London, then you might find them quite expensive. So your average meal might come to about £15, depending on some restaurants. If you want to eat cheaply, then there are other places you can go and eat cheap. In terms of drinking, there is no such thing as a cheap drink in London. There really isn't. You can go to many bars and many pubs, and you'll probably find you'll be paying about £5 for a pint of lager or beer. Also, £5 for a glass of wine. So if you're looking to drink out in London, then yeah, you'll be paying what we call London prices. Now, bear in mind that I'm talking about central London. If you go further out, you will get cheaper places you can go and drink. So my suggestion would be to probably go out to a local park, get some beers or get some ciders or wine to drink in a park, because some parks in London do allow you to drink in public, because drinking in London in general is illegal. You'll be caught if you are drinking in public, so don't do it. In terms of eating, then there are many vouchers you can get from the internet and use whilst you're there, because if you pay full price for your meal, then you're probably not getting a good deal. Most restaurants in London have deals you can use or vouchers. I'll link some voucher websites down in the description so you can check it out and use your coupons at these restaurants, because the chances are when you visit London, you're most likely going to visit a restaurant which is a chain. Now, a chain is basically a whole load of restaurants all owned by the same company, and also lots of restaurants where they're duplicated in various places. You might not know them as a tourist, but what I would suggest is before you go to a certain restaurant, check out online if there are any sort of vouchers you can get, because if you don't have to pay full price for a meal, you don't have to. So yeah, check online. I would highly recommend you do that. Now, in terms of going and visiting places, I would highly recommend you visit, as I said, the landmarks, because just get a good photo opportunity. There are many of them scattered around London. And also, if you want to take a break from all the hustle and bustle from the big city, then I would recommend you go to certain parks, such as Regent's Park, Hampstead Heath, Greenwich Park, and Hyde Park. Now, these parks are probably the most nearby local parks you can visit if you're in central London. There are other parks as well, but they're a bit further out, and if you're visiting for a very short space of time, it might not be beneficial for you to visit these other parks. So stick to these ones. Now, in terms of transport, you're spoilt for choice. I think the best way to get around London in terms of central London being Westminster or City of London, then I would recommend you use a tube. Tubes are absolutely everywhere. You can't walk 2 or 3 minutes without bumping into a tube station. And there are also so many different lines you can pick from. When I say lines, I mean different sort of tube networks going to different places. And the map can be very daunting and confusing if you're a tourist. So before you arrive, do good homework on the tube map, because it took me a while to get used to it. Now, if you ever get lost by using these transportation methods, don't hesitate to ask a member of staff of TfL. They're usually really helpful, or any other person walking by. In general, people in London are quite friendly. So if you're in need of some help, then just politely ask someone. But don't be too abrupt, because some people might think you're asking for money or something, because there are a lot of people who are, there are a lot of homeless people in London who beg, and you might be confused with someone else who could be homeless. You don't know. So watch out for that. In terms of hotels, once again, not particularly cheap. You're probably going to be looking at about £100 a night for the cheapest of hotels to stay in. Now, you can get cheaper hotels if you go further outside of central London, but even so, you're still looking at about £80 a night at the cheapest. And it might not be convenient for you to stay there. So yeah, just bear in mind the hotel prices. Go have a look on Trivago or Expedia, hotels.com, booking. Just go look for yourself as to what sort of deals you'd like. Now, if you visit Westminster and you want to visit Big Ben, Houses of Parliament, areas like that, you will often get a lot of people protesting. At the moment, it's mainly to do with the whole EU Brexit referendum palaver at the moment. So people are very passionate about that. So if you go to Westminster Square, you'll find a lot of protesters all the time. So yeah, they're not harmful or anything, but I'm just letting you know what's going on in that particular area at the moment. But also you might get other sort of protests, such as like a far right protest in terms of far right crap which you don't need to be associated with, and also you might get a lot of like vegan protests and environmental protests as well. So yeah, watch out for those, because they can cause some disruption to your travel. I was there the other day in Trafalgar Square, I think, and there was a massive protest of vegans protesting, and as you can imagine, there were a lot of them, and boy did they cause an upset. But yeah, it's interesting though, because you do get a lot of protests in London, and it can be quite interesting to be there and see how it goes about. They are usually really peaceful protests, apart from the far right ones where people might get beaten up for no reason at all. So yeah, if you see a Great British flag waving around in London, keep away. Just warning you now, they won't like you if you're a tourist. So yeah, in terms of London, I think I've briefly covered most of it. If you'd like to see another video on London, or if you want me to go into more detail about certain things, please leave a comment below and I'll be sure to do that. But apart from that, thank you for watching. Peace.